Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Easy8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, and for the next 2 hours I'm going to be painting my miniatures along with you, hopefully live, keeping you company and motivated, hopefully maybe even inspired to paint your stuff, because we've all got big piles of grey plastic mounting up somewhere in the back of, well, wherever it is we keep it here in the studio. I've been actually having a bit of a tidy up over the last few days, and it's starting to look a little bit more respectable in here. Still a long way to go though, so if you've got stuff that you're going to be painting, or if you're just coming along for the company, then this is the place to be. The quintessential place to be. I don't even know what quintessential means, but there you go, I've said it. So if you're working on something this evening, come and tell us all about it. I'd love to know all about it. You could take photos of it, you can stick it up on Facebook, because we're not just here on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Discord, and you can join me at the end of the show on Discord at the Easy8 after party, if you so wish. Links to all of our platforms are all downstairs, just down there. Go and have a little look in the description of this video, but do that later. Right now though, if you like what we do, you should consider subscribing to the show, because subscriptions are the way forwards. They're what make the show grow. Obviously you guys know all of this stuff and I've been saying it for millions of years, but if you like what we do, please do hit the subscribe button. It would make my day. But what you could do to really help me out is hit the like button. I'm going to go and get my miniature because I've left it on the table behind me, because that's how prepared I am today. I'll give you a second just to go and like that video. Go on, go do it. Go on, go. Got it. Yeah. Whew. Itchy eye. Ugh. Itchy nose. It's a live show. It's not been scripted at all in any way, shape or form. And that's what I really like about the show. I am just an everyday painter. I'm not actually that good. I'm not particularly great at anything that I do. I do feel that I'm growing quite a bit lately, though. I've been making some good choices when it comes to painting. I'm really getting into colour choices. And I'm starting to settle on specific styles, so to speak. One of those things that I'm trying to not do is to rely too heavily on styles and try to kind of push myself and not rest on things that, you know, when you find something that you get quite comfortable with, it's to not just kind of rely on that solely. So I've got some projects where I do, you know, one certain style, and I go to another project and I do another certain style. One of the things that I always like to do are washes. I quite like washes. They're a bit of a cheat code. They filter all of your stuff. They kind of unify. That's one of the main things I really like about washes. They unify all of your different colours together, and it makes, when you paint something in lots of different colours, it kind of makes all those different colours feel separate. Almost the parts of the models that you've painted become separate entities, and by putting a unifying wash on them, brings them all together. Very hard to explain what I mean by that, so the only thing you can really do is to go and have a go find a model, paint it lots of different colours and do a unifying wash on it. Play around until you're happy with what colours you like. A lot of the guys on this show know that I'm really into Basilicanum Grey. It's a Citadel colour, it's a contrast colour, and if you water it down 50-50, it makes a really, really good dark grey wash. And I find that it works really well on all colours, and I did it on this 50mm model that I've been painting the last couple of weeks. I did the wash right at the end of last week's show, because I spent quite a bit of time faffing around with silver. I do have an itchy eye. I spent quite a bit of time faffing around, and while I like it, what it's done is it's blended my two colours together so close, it's actually quite difficult to tell them apart. So I've just got to trust the process. And that's one of those things that I've just got to have faith in myself as a painter to be able to make sure that this looks okay. It doesn't. You can tell the colours apart. They just look a lot closer than before they were painted. I have noticed, though, that there are a few areas where that wash hasn't quite sat properly. And one of the first things I've got to do today is to fix that. Once I fix that, there's a couple of jobs left to do. I've got to do the cockpit. There's a few details. It's such a small model. It's such a small scale, because it's supposed to be so big, that I'm not going to go crazy with detail painting. I'm going to do cockpit, maybe a couple of lights inside the weapons and things like that. But beyond that, that's about it. They're going to be accent colours. But there's a camouflage thing. That's going to be quite a process. What we need to do is go and have a closer look at my model so that you can see exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Because yeah, I've missed a few areas and it looks a little bit tacky, and it's kind of pooled up in some of those areas as well, and I need to wash that down. Basically, I got really excited to do it. I crammed it in at the end of last week's show. I rushed it. It happens, right? it happens. Anyway, if you're watching us on this evening, come and tell me all about it. Subscribe, like, share, do all of that business, and come and join me over on the workbench. Here we go. Now that we're here, and I'm in a very small screen, I'm going to disappear behind me once again, because I forgot my paint water. I was having a bit of a rush, trying to get here at the beginning of the show, and I sorted out the sound problem. So you might remember the last couple of weeks we've been having like a loop on the music in the background. I think I've sorted it out, and then just as I hit go, I accidentally hit the calendar for launching videos, and I was live in a calendar and I couldn't see this, and oh my god. So yeah, running a little bit behind, a little bit hectic, but you know, show ain't a show if it ain't going wrong, is it? Anyway, here's my 15mm Raven. It's got silver and it's got grey, and it's got silicone and grey wash all over it. Now you can see that it looks a little bit grubby. I really like that. I really like the fact it looks a little bit grubby. If you go into MechWarrior Online, the video game that this model comes from, you will see that they do look a little bit grubby. They are quite cool, and this looks quite familiar to me. Not the colour scheme, but just the grubbiness of it. There are a couple of pooling bits. You can see just inside here on the leg, there's a little bit of pooling in there. Pooling. Going to oversay that now. Pooling. It doesn't show up so well on my monitor, but I can see it in my eye. There's quite a harsh line in there, which I don't like so much. There's a big dollop there. Yep, not into that so much. It hasn't taken very well down here. And I noticed as I was talking to you, I didn't even get it on the underside there. So I've got to redo all of that. In other areas it has gone quite well. It hasn't taken to the back here at all. And there's a few patchy bits here. Now, I do find myself with washes having to wait for them to dry, go back in and clean them up. This isn't unexpected. It's just a little messier than where I want to be. I haven't varnished it since I've done this, so it's going to be easy to repair. Because if I'd varnished it, I wouldn't be able to repair it at all, and that's not where I want to be. Now, I am going to be doing a camouflage colour over the top of the grey, not the silver, the grey parts. So a lot of this is going to be covered up anyway. Oops. And there lies my second problem. I did the wash before I did all the colours, and I was thinking about this last week before the show, thinking I'll do the wash after I've done all the colours, because then it will unify them all. It's a unifying wash. And then I didn't do it. I was so excited to get to this part that I just rushed ahead. So I'm going to have to do all the colours, and then I'm going to have to do like a patch wash. So when all the colours are in place, I'm going to have to go over with the silicone and grey. I've got to do it as a detail thing. One of those things. It happens. We'll get over it. We'll get past it. But I think it's going to put another week on top of making this model. Bit of a shame. But I'm having fun with it, and it is a really nice model. It's a really nice one. Okay, he's so cool. Anyway, Basilicanum Grey. I use Basilicanum Grey. Citadel. Add water to it, 50-50. I was actually thinking last week that the contrast was actually the style, the properties of the contrast paint were a little too much, so I might need to wash it down a little bit more. I'm just going to give this a mix. I don't know if I'm going to need to use it right now. What I want to do is kind of clean up the stronger parts on the model. So I probably will start here, have a little look over the whole thing and just think, oh, where is it a little bit on the too strong? You can see just beside this patch here where it's all clear that there's this, if I point with a brush, in here it's all a little too dark and there's a lot of staining and coffee ring staining and things like that, and yeah, not very keen on it at all. I don't mind any of this. This has all got on very, very well. Bit patchy here. The only way that I'm going to be able to clean this, of course, is with cleaner. I put my cleaner decanter into these tiny little pipette bottles. I just find it much easier to manipulate rather than having a massive thing which you then glug all over the table. Because what I like to do is just I put like a couple of drops on the table and I just dip my brush into them. It evaporates pretty quickly, so I just use a couple of drops at a time. At the same time, it cleans the desk. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing for the first little bit just here. Put a little bit on, I'll let it sit there for a second, and I agitate it with another brush or with a cotton bud. And you do it really gently so that you don't go through lots of layers. Now, because there's a layer of varnish between the grey and the Basilicana grey wash, it should be a little more resistant underneath. But yeah, we just got to take our time with it. This is one of those things that could take a little while, and I do kind of I'm getting excited. I'm just going to press on a little bit. So, I'm not going to be too precious about it. Remember what I said, I can always go over it with some camouflage colours, so there's that as well. Oops. A little cotton bud. It's a bit of a grubby cotton bud, but whatever. Already, you can see I come away a little bit down. Yeah, nice. Anyway, while I've been faffing around with this, I haven't checked to see who's in the live chat. I saw that it was a Saki comment from Stafford saying that even he's late, but he still managed to beat me to it. Just trying to bring you quality shows, pal, you sneaky bugger. Who have we got in the live chat today? All the way to the top, we've got Table of Horrors. We've got Shiv from Table of Horrors. Greetings all and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to all of you, by the way. 2025. I hope it's better than 24, because that sucked. But we've got Crumb Studio. We've got Christulus. Hi guys, how are you? We've got Adrian Dean. We've got Stafford. Yep, he's still late. Hi all. I may partake a little bit of rum tonight. It's a Friday. You do you, pal. Who else have we got? We've got Jeff. That's my dad, Jeff. Hi, Dad. How you doing? The first stage is admitting that you have a tank problem. I like to wash. I do it at least once a day. I don't. I'm a boy. I'm self-cleaning. Have we got anybody else? Am I missing anybody? I think that's everybody so far. Hi guys, thanks for coming along. And to anybody else who's watching, Happy New Year to you. Got a feeling might have gone. Surely that's not down to bare resin, is it? That'll be pink. Oh, that went through, didn't it? Oops, see that big tear? That's what using cleaner will do for you. So I've got to patch that up. I told you I'm an everyday painter. That is a big boo-boo, and I'm going to have to clean that up in a second. So I'm just going to have to go in there and paint over it. Okay, cool. Brilliant. It is so delicate because I've airbrushed it on. I need to patch paint. Lesson learned. Understood. Run a quick look just to make sure that there's no other areas that are any worse. It's cotton bud. To see if that works any better. You always do like a little bit of dry brushing with the original grey. No, okay, do you know what? I'm not going to do it. Not going to risk it. Wipe that up. What we're going to do then... That's what. There we go. We need a pipette. I've already shaken up my paint. I'm gonna suck up a little bit of paint there, and then I'm just gonna. You can't see it. It's just a little bit out of shot, isn't it? I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4 drops of paint. Give the pipette a bit of a wash out, and then. 1, 2, 4. I'm going to put a fifth one in there because I said last week it was a little bit, I don't know, unwieldy, a little too contrasty. Right. So I'm looking for areas to patch up. This big area here is the main one, obviously, but I've got to repair that little bit in there. So my brush is now dry. Just pick up any of the remaining cleaner in there. Let's get some of that grey in there that I used to paint it in the first place. Where are you? Can't remember what grey that I used. I'm doing so well. I go through this regularly, by the way. I can't remember if it was Stonewall. It wasn't Stonewall, was it? It was Cold Grey. There it is. Got it. Give that a quick shake. Lovely. Perfect crime. Nobody would notice. Because I was trying to clean it up in there and it's a little bit rubbishy, I'm just going to patch over that whole thing. Whole area in there, and I'll wash it in again. Nice and simple. I'll probably do this whole area and where it just didn't go so well, using the tiniest brush in the world for this large area. Mistake after mistake after mistake. There's a few little areas in here that I'm a little unhappy with. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do this panel here again as well. Probably could have just, you know, done a camouflage scheme over the top. While I'm doing it, let's do it properly. Bit on the top up there. Okay. Can't believe it didn't get it on those little squares on the back there. Bit heavy here. Quite like it though. Maybe a bit too heavy there. Oops. Right. Down to leave her alone. Okay, one leg at a time. Let's start here. Bit patchy on the top of the leg there. Not too fussed about it. It's real dark, heavy patches that look really distracting that I'm really keen to find. On the back of the leg here, that's a bit much, but I'm quite positive that the camouflaging will rescue that. That bit there's a bit heavy. Okay. The feet didn't take very well either. Don't rush your paint jobs, guys. Take your time. Where it did sit on the feet, it's pulled in some places and is really held off in others. Oops. Care said to me the other day, "You're always dropping things. Stop dropping things." I can't help it. I'm Butterfingers. I'm a real klutz. You know what? I'm just gonna redo that whole panel. This is probably like the worst thing I could be doing. Is patch painting, redoing the whole thing again. Who knows? Just got this feeling that this, with a combination of covering things up with the camouflage, is going to be the most effective way of repairing the damage. But I don't really mind, I just enjoy putting paint on things, really. Yeah, you can see all the way around here that it hasn't taken at all around there. Now I wonder if that's just because I missed it in my application, which is very, very likely, or if it kind of pulled away, drew back away from that area, because I water it down, but it's still going to have surface tension, and that's what's going to pull it away from the edges. Water breaks down that surface tension. Makes it kind of recede away and pull into itself, like beading, probably the best way of explaining it. And then where it dries around the edges, you'll get really coarse lines, real hard edges. And that works really well in recesses where you want it to help define details, but not on flat edges like this. I'm such an idiot. Just got excited. Showing off my toys online, that's all I was doing. Look at that in there. You can see that there's this funny sort of, I don't know, shaped panel. There's an area here where it hasn't taken to at all, but then it's beaded into one big blob. That's because I rushed applying it. The tension had been broken down too much, maybe with too much water, or I just hadn't spread it out enough, hadn't taken that time. All into one big blob. Real hard line. But I really like the effect around the panel. Done a lot of shading for me. You just take your time, it can look really, really good. But I did it as like a 5-10 minute thing at the end of last week's episode, and I should have spent like an hour doing it. Shading with washes, take your time. It feels like, oh, a sludge wash, I'll just slap it on. Don't do it. Because otherwise you end up with stuff like this. Anyway, I need to wait for that to dry just for a second. So while we do that, what I'm going to do is have a quick run through the live chat, see not only who have we got, but if you're painting anything. I can see that some people are saying that they're doing dry January. If you're going to do dry January, don't put ice cubes in your whiskey. That's my effort. I'm not doing dry January. I'm British. I don't drink because I want to. I drink because I have to. Sorry, that's a rip-off from Ricky Gervais. I just like the joke. I don't have a drinking problem at all. To start the day off, I'm going to go in with a cup of tea. Happy weekend, everybody. Happy New Year. Cheers. And that one was laid a little while ago, so it wasn't burning this time. Right, who have we got and what are we talking about? Is anybody bringing any of their stuff? Staff's got to be painting some tanks, right? Right? I may be in negotiation with someone about buying more tanks. It's not even a hard guess, is it really? It's just, you should just say it because he's going to be doing it. Danny was 3 minutes late, doesn't mean he has to go 30 minutes over. Maybe? So one of the clock app peeps that I follow has made it their New Year's resolution to not buy any new models until after the next year, or they have cleared their backlog. I wish I could be so confident in saying that's what I'm going to do, but it just piles up quicker. Like, people are giving me stuff. It's very nice. I've got several projects on the go at the same time. I've actually been working in the background of doing this project. I've been working on doing a McFarlane Space Marine, just trying to establish that Dark Angels green. It's very, very dark and sprayed over a black primer, so it's taken about 3 coats to get there. I'm going to be using... got a leg here as well. I'm going to be using a white, probably a white ink, to finally give a directional zenithal spray, and then going back over with the same colour just to kind of trying to bring a little bit of rendering to it all. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. It's just a large model. It's been really good. I'm wondering how repositioning all the limbs is going to affect it. Obviously, you're going to see a lot of exposed parts starting to creep out. I haven't actually moved any of it yet. As if I moved this one, can you? Yeah, there you go, in there. I know that as I start moving these limbs around, it's going to start wearing paint off, or showing exposed areas. But it's kind of the point of it, right? It's what it's all about. I'm going to try and do my best to protect it and varnish it. In here is all going to be very dark grey. This is all going to be colour that I use for tyres. Corax black, I think it is. And then I'll probably stain it as well. And I'm not going to do much highlighting with it. I kind of want it to be really toned down. But yeah, you can see there's some exposed bits in there. Hopefully, by painting it all bit by bit, varnishing it, letting it dry properly, pulling that bit down, painting it, varnish it, letting it dry properly, should protect it enough. It's not going to be handled or manipulated very much. It's not going to be like, you know, used as a toy. I'm an adult. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, interesting. We're having a great time with it. It's just nice and big and chunky. Normally painting things this big, it's nice to be painting things huge. Yeah, bit of fun. Cool. I've also got some green stuff here that I'm ready for a project that is at the moment top secret. Can't tell you any more than that. Yeah. Let's see if this is dry. Anybody else doing any other bits and pieces? Projects that are you guys working on? A quick read. I'm actually painting a house, says Stafford. Foxhole Games has joined us. Hi Foxhole Games, how are you? Sounds right to me. Dry wine, dry gin to the dry January. Yeah, love that, Adrian. Sorry to hear about your dry January. So Danny, will you paint a Loyalist Space Marine next? What do you mean by a Loyalist Space Marine? Are you talking about my Dark Angels? I don't care for that argument, because every time I say it, either way, people always come back at me going, it's a Loyalist. Or if I say, oh, it's a Loyalist Space Marine, oh, that's a heretic. You guys decide and have that fight. No is the answer. I'm not going to be painting another Space Marine that big unless someone gives it to me. I have actually received a Necron flayed one for Christmas from my sister. So yeah, we'll be working on that. I did have... It's on the desk behind me. I started painting the bolter for the big Space Marine as well. That's fun. I'm enjoying that. Painted it in like really decent silvers and stuff, and it's looking really good. Good here. Just working on some Eldar. Oh, what Eldar specifically are you working on? Foxhole, come and tell us all about it, and take photos. Stick them up on Discord or stick them up on Facebook so we can all go and have a look. I'd love to see them. Right. Let's do some more here. I'm gonna go to my size 0, so just a little bit easier to use. I'm gonna mix that water and paint up because I haven't done that yet. There we go. Okay, now I'm just going to take my time. I'm going to start off on the headpiece here, because that's just how I must have missed it. That's not like I didn't paint it properly and it all ran away. I just didn't paint that right. That is just terrible, indicative of rushing the model. So panel by panel, I'm going to take my time. Now I've applied it, and try and make sure that it runs to all the edges so that it doesn't leave any blank spots. But also, see how it's pooled like that now? Is to use the brush while it's still wet and just try and lift that away. Move it to another area, because it's a contrast paint, do it quite quickly if you can, and stop it from making any staining. And I find that just dabbing the tip of the brush when it's kind of loaded with all that excess paint, a really good way of just making sure that you don't create any further staining. Perfect crime. Excellent. But of course I just slapped it on like a sludge wash last week. I was chatting to Shiv from Table of Horrors just earlier on in Discord, talking about learning lessons as a painter, and patience being the best one. Like, it's if you're going to learn anything, like, learn patience. Learn to enjoy the bit that you're painting. Don't just think I'm going to do all the silver on this model today. Maybe just think I'm going to do the silver on this leg. And if I finish that in one go, cool, I'll do the other leg. Try not to think about it as a whole project. Try to break it down. Be happy with that. The project should take you a little bit of time. Now, obviously, that changes depending on what it is you're doing. If you're painting a whole army, then you might have to like find corners to cut. That's fine. That's a part of what that project is. But work out the best areas to cut your corners. Because no one can expect you to paint an entire army like, you know, like a hero model or anything like that at all. And if you can do that, then you should be taking center stage here, man, because that sounds cool. I could do that. Just some little areas in behind all that mess at the back in there. It was always going to be a bit trickier. The area really bugging me is those little squares at the back there, look. The back of this weapon here. Now I want to make sure that what I get, you know, I'm really happy with, because oh, look at that, I just noticed another bit right underneath that weapon. You can tell that it did pull away from here. To protect this, when I'm going to be doing the camouflaging, I'm going to varnish it. So I want to make sure that essentially I'm locking it in. No one's going to see underneath the model. That's it. Okay, just going to leave that there, let that dry. Okay, let's start with, let's do left leg first. Left, then right. A bit patchy on the top there. So I'm just going to go in with a thin layer. And more than anything, just trying to keep it thin so it doesn't build up with the pre-existing coat that I've done. But covering up any patchy areas. That's the idea there. Okay, that worked pretty well. That's the bit that I did a minute ago, cleaned up. Excellent. Pretty good. Bit patchy just on the inside of that thigh piece. Okay. Some heavy tea staining here, but I'm okay with it. But didn't take very well at all. I want to make sure that the feet come out a little bit better. Are you going to edge highlight your house, Stafford? Yeah, interesting. Interesting question. You're going to edge highlight it? Are you going to do dry brushing on it? Any blends? How much are you spending in contrast paint? Edge highlight, you'll have paint on it. Staff has never really been one for enjoying the painting. I don't know why. It's the patience thing, isn't it? This is what we were talking about a minute ago, perhaps. Patience. It's quite tempting to want to sit down with a paintbrush and expect a, you know, an amazing job straight away. I know I certainly used to believe that. I think if I want to sit down, I'm going to paint these 10 Space Marines in by 8 o'clock this evening. Voila, I'm going to have a White Dwarf standard Space Marines. Doesn't go like that. of the paint, god damn it. One of the projects that I really want to get around to is skin painting, because I know that's a project that's going to force me to learn patience. I'm going to have to adapt. I'm going to have to get used to, I'm doing the cheek person's face and I'm doing this one colour, this one tone. That's going to be like a really lengthy project, and it is something I've been wanting to do on this show since the very early days, back when I used to have a co-host. We were planning on buying the same miniature. We were going to do it together and learn together online, and invite people who observed it, who watched the program, to come along and do it with us. If that is something, and other projects that are similar like that, if that's something that's appealing to you, let me know, because I'm more than happy to consider different variations in the show like that, where it comes a bit more interactive, so to speak. And like I say, I'm not a great painter. Yeah, a lot of compliments from the show. Thank you very much. But I'm not an expert, and I don't know a lot of ways of doing things. I'm not even confident with my own with my own themes and styles or whatever. Not truly locked in on that yet, but I kind of get the idea. I kind of know what to do to get the right impression. I can go away and research some things, and the best form of learning is to make mistakes, isn't it? Over and over and over again. During lockdown, a couple of my housemates decided to watch Bob Ross videos, and were ordering canvases and oil paints, and were just painting along with Bob Ross. And their stuff was really nice. Bob Ross is just the most confident, relaxed person in the whole world, and I'm not here to say that I'm anything like Bob Ross in any way, shape or form, but I can have a go, and you can have a go with me if you want. Let me know what you think. A bit all the way down the side of the leg there, where the paint's kind of pulled away. Okay. All I'm looking for now is just little bits of pooling from the newer paint bits. Any patchy bits that I've missed, it's just a second chance to have a little look. Then I'm going to go over and varnish and lock it all in. And if I find any bits along the way, I'll just deal with it at the time. Let's see, get that bit in there right. Okay, I'm just going to leave it Gonna obsess otherwise. I'm gonna get a bit of varnish on him. Right, let's wiggle the tea. That's the 2nd of February. The Plymouth War Games show, guys. Loads of cheap tanks and staff. Yeah, because staff needs more tanks, right? Yes, with the Plymouth War Games show, it's something that I'd really like to go to. Oh well, I go there all the time because it's a short drive away from me. It's one of my local shows. I live in North Devon. Plymouth's obviously right over there in sort of southwest Devon, West Devon. And also I go to the Exeter show a lot. What I'd really like to do is to have a stall presence like we did at Recon. Now Recon, we get invited to go along as guests very kindly by the crew at the Pit Gaming shop who actually organise that event, which is wonderful. Thank you so much, guys. I always say thank you on the show. It's very, very kind. We've been a couple of times now, and it's just getting better and better. And we go. I would love to be able to do that at other shows, but of course, you know, you can't always expect to go along as a guest, and it costs. If you're a trader, that's a part of your expenditures. You regain that through sales. I don't trade. I'm not a trader, so it's a very difficult decision for me to do, and I understand, of course, if it becomes too expensive for me to do. But I will still go along as you know, a member of the public. So if you want to go along with me and the team from Easy 8, then you know it'll be really cool to join you. Let's go there. They do have a really, really good bring and buy sale at Plymouth and Exeter. And normally, like Table of Horrors are saying there with staff, there all the tanks are sold by 10:03. We got to the Exeter show a couple of years ago early, and all the tanks that we wanted were sold early. There was a guy that had just made a massive deal, walked away with a big box of stuff. So yeah, get there early if you want to go to the bring and buy sale. At least you know you're in a position to go to a show. I live in the back of Beyond. Yeah, I can't help that. Keep your eyes peeled for a local show and go along, take photos, and tell us what it's like. That's the only thing I can suggest there. Sorry, man. Right, let's get some varnish on this bad boy. I want to give this a go again. My Ultra Matte Polyurethane varnish. Now, I sprayed this on him when I undercoated in black just to kind of protect the black primer from handling it, and it went on glossy or semi-glossy. And I wonder if I just put it on too thick. It says here the varnishes unify the visual appearance of the surface and protect it. Surface against humidity, dust and fingerprints. It's recommended to wait 2 weeks before applying the varnish to the finished work. I'm not going to be finishing it, I'm just going to be protecting it. And also this is a much bigger bottle than my standard bottles, which are this big, so use this one, right? Permanent and very resistant. Dries to touch in 1 hour. For application of 2 coats of varnish, we recommend an interval of 24 hours. Be used directly with brush or airbrush. Needle size of 0.4 millimeters without dilution. Clean up with soap and water. No to all of that. I'm just going to be sticking it on there. Yeah, I wonder why I went on glossy. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe it's the wrong product for me. Hopefully not. Gonna get my piece of paper out. Edges are curling a little bit. Sort it out. There we go. Lovely. So, I was using the airbrush the other day, and it did need a bit it, and I cleaned it, and then I used it again. So, I'm gonna just make sure that the needle is nice and clean while the compressor's just filling up the tank with air. Seems to be all good. Place a minute. What I'm looking for is action on the needle if I pull the trigger back. Yeah, the needle moves, that's good. And it's a nice and smooth action. See light through the nozzle. That's the nozzle, and that's protector cap, and that looks all nice and clean. Pop that in there. I always pull the needle back further than it needs to so I can put the nozzle cap on safely, and I'm looking for the needle just to kind of appear inside here when I push it forwards. Good action on that. Needs a bit of a clean out in the hopper. Ever since Darren, who often graces us for a few minutes in the live chat, repaired my my compressor, runs a bit noisier, but it runs so efficiently. So, Darren, if you watch this bit, thanks ever so much, mate. Really appreciate that. Didn't ask for anything for it, just came around one day, picked it up, took it away. Said, oh, this will take me a little while. Brought it back 2 days later, all done. Bypassed the problem entirely, stuck a new tube on it. Wonderful job. Thank you so much. 2 fish in the tank, the other says to the other, do you know how to drive this thing? Oh, you missed your calling, mate. You should be a comedian. Unless you are a comedian, in which case, I'm so sorry. Why'd you fill your tank with air? Surely shells work better. I fill your tank with shells. That's about as threatening as I get. Oh, it's so gross in there. Excellent. Any of those tiny little bits of dried paint flake need to be removed because they'll just end up going into the paint chamber and then ultimately blocking up the whole airbrush. That's not what I want. Two soldiers in a tank, one says the other, blah 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 blah. Very good. Not reading the last one, Shiv. See it there. Right. It's that cleaned. Okie dokie. I'm not going to mix it down. I'm just going to use it neat. Not diluting it. A bit to start with. Bit of air just to make sure that everything was dried or moved around at the very least. Okay, here we go. I wonder if the last time it was because I just put it on too thick, maybe. So what I'm doing right now is I put on a tiny little layer and I'm just hitting it with some air just to agitate it, to dry it. And then again put on another thin coat in a different area, agitate it with some air, dry it, just rinse repeat basically. You know what? It smells. It's not a solventy smell like you'd expect from enamels or spirits or anything like that. It just smells stale. I would have probably sold a stale product. My varnish has gone off. Some of the products that I use, like the proper cool metal silver colour that I was using yesterday for the bolt gun on the large Space Marine, and the gloss primer that goes with it, they smell really sweet. It's really bizarre. Airbrushes, they get grosser as time goes on, in my opinion. What do you mean? Like harder to use, or they get clogged as time goes on? Yes, they do. But you know, regular maintenance is important, even with your brushes. You'd find paint from projects past every time you clean them. Yes, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And that just tells me that I don't clean my airbrush out properly. That's not me attacking you, saying that you need to clean your airbrush out proper, Christinus. But yeah. I like to give mine a bath in a sonic bath. I don't think my sonic bath is very good. I thought it's very cheap. I don't think it really does an awful lot. It does seem to get like the more obvious bits out, but I put it in the bath of isopropyl alcohol. Just soaking in that is often enough to loosen some bits out, and then the sonic bath will, you know, do a lot of the heavy lifting. I think I just need to buy a better sonic bath, frankly, which is fine. I can handle that. But yeah, I've got lots of like cleaning brushes and things like that, and every now and again I'll give it a really good clean. I noticed a minute ago I put it on quite heavy on this area here, and it came out quite shiny, and I sort of just dried it a little bit with the airbrush, and then I went over with another thin layer, and it sort of hides the gloss. I think that glossiness I was talking about might come from putting it on too thick. This might be a very elite product, perhaps. We're almost at a time for a quick break, which is exciting because it means when we come back, I'm at a point where I'm going to start choosing my colours for the camouflage, and I think I'm going to use a bit of masking tape and start taping those areas off. I need to be careful about how I do this, because obviously if I'm doing this leg here, for example, I want to mask out where I'm going to spray the colour, but I don't want it to overspray over here. So I've been thinking about like wrapping a tube of paper around it. Got another idea in my head, and it feels genius, but it could be absolutely rubbish. But there's only one way to find out, and that is to tune in after the intermission, which is in just a minute when I push the button. If I had like a production team, they could have done it for me, but it's a one-man show, man. Back to this bit. A little bit of excess varnish. I don't want to use all of that. Only a little bit left in there. I hit the button. Purge tank out. Gonna stick a load of water in there. I always like to follow a little bit of cleaner through after using varnish. It's got a funny smell. It's weird. It's scummy. Inside out. A little bit of 50-50 mix of water and cleaner. Just saves you cleaner because it's expensive stuff, and you don't need to use it neat. You are having to use it like really neat in large quantities. You probably need to strip clean the whole airbrush. That being said, sometimes I do put neat cleaner in there, but that's because I'm lazy. I can't have an airbrush, I'd paint the tank. It's actually accurate and funny. Just drinks the alcohol instead rather than cleaning it. Yeah. I think we're starting to bully Staff a little bit and his drinking problem that he clearly has. I mean, what? You don't. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, cool. Yeah. Leave this piece of paper out. Just in a second, because I'm going to start looking at where I'm actually going to start putting the camouflage colours on, and I'm going to be using some tape. I've got a little dispenser with some tape in there. Thank you very much, Kez, as a gift to the show. I want to be using a combination of like a turquoisey colour and a bright blue, and I think that I've got my bright blue colour. I don't have a turquoise. I don't have a turquoise in the airbrush colour, and that bothers me. It means I've got to make one. So a good portion of today is going to be, is this the right colour blue that I want to use, and how do I make a turquoise? I want them to be quite light colours. I don't want them to be too stark. This one's not too far away from the source material, but we'll have a little look at that when we come back from the break. In the meantime, I'm going to go and grab myself a grown-up juice because it's the weekend and it's the new year and I'm just a grown-up and that's what I want to do. So I'll see you back in 10 minutes. Go change paint water. Bye! Hi and welcome back. As you may have noticed, the music's doing its own thing again. So we're just going to let it ride out. We're just going to pretend it's happening. No, not happening. And everything's going to be alright with the world. But anyway, I hope you're having a good evening so far. I certainly am. It's the weekend. I've got myself a grown-up juice. Happy 2025. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Cheers, everybody. The music doing its own thing in the background is extremely distracting. I work a lot on audio cues. I do apologise for that. But it's doing its own thing, so we're just going to let it go. Before we went away for the intermission, I was talking about that I don't have any turquoise colour. I do have turquoise colour. I found turquoise colour a little while ago, and it's actually, looking at the reference material that I've got, it's exactly the right shade of turquoise, which is great. It's not like a slightly lighter, slightly darker turquoise. I was wondering, would I have to add any white ink or something to it? But it's designed for the brush, not designed for the airbrush. So I've had to be quite inventive, and I've been adding drops of airbrush thinner to try and make it the right sort of consistency to go through my airbrush. That music is really driving me through a hoop. What's a guy to do? Are we going to get, like, is it going to be the right tunes next? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with my music? Nothing. There it is. So yeah, I've been working with this turquoise colour, mixed in a little mixer dish, which I can then transfer straight to the airbrush. I think I'm on a bit of a winner. I don't have to mix it with any other colours, so I don't have to like do the whole thing and hope that I or hope that I have to mix it to the right colour consistency the next time around. I just got to make sure that the viscosity is appropriate, and it seems to have been pretty good. I have tried to mix my own airbrush paints in the past. When I first got my airbrush, and I was looking at different greens for my Space Marines, and they didn't have the colour that I like to use in an airbrush format, so I was mixing my own, and it separated, and I probably just wildly got the ratios wrong. This is working very, very well, which means that I need to put that away for a second, and I need to mask the miniature. I'm probably going to have to make more of that paint in a minute. That's fine, that's okay. So yeah, anyway, if you like what we do here at Easy 8, or you just enjoy the company, please do consider subscribing to the show, because the subscriptions is make what everything happen. It's you guys, you are the community, and I make this for you as well as I do for myself. So if you're regularly coming along, bringing your miniatures, getting stuff painted, getting some colour on your grey, then please come along and subscribe to the show if you haven't done so already. If you do, enjoy what we're doing, maybe bring a friend, get them to subscribe as well. If you haven't done already, give this video a thumbs up, because anytime you interact with the algorithm, it makes things better for us. All hail the algorithm. So if you like to give it a thumbs up, if you're going to talk in the live chat, if you're making comments later on after we've gone live, all these things, they go a really long way. Share it, put it on your Facebook profile or on your Discord or whatever. I'd really appreciate it. Or don't. Entirely your call. I'm not going to be the boss of you. You do you, boo. Subscribe. Cool. To the workbench. Have a look at my drink. There you go. Cool. So, just before we went away, we were talking about how to cover up other areas that I'm not painting. So I've got this tape, and I'm going to try my best to airbrush accurately into the right areas. For example, I'm going to try and spray on this area and not all over here. But what about this bit over here? There's going to be overspray. It's going to happen. I could tape it all up. I could get a piece of paper and hold it. It's going to get a little bit fiddly. But I'm a genius. Cling film. This might be the worst thing in the world. But I thought that if I get a little bit of this, a little bit off, the box broke. You know how like boxes of clean film have always got that little saw edge on them? Yeah, I don't have that. So I'm just going to pull that out. Something heavy on it. My arm, that'll do. There we go. And that gives me a relatively neat edge. Fantastic. What I was thinking is just being able to wrap part of my miniature. Do you know what? That's a lot of clean. Think about just being able to wrap a part of my miniature. Sorry, Kez. A part of my miniature in cling film. I might be able to manipulate it over most of the miniature, right? seems to work for me. There's always going to be a little bit that kind of sticks out a little bit, so I've got to be careful about how I go into this. But mixed with a little bit of tape holding it down in places, I could just focus on one limb at a time, right? That's the plan. Tell me I haven't just created a hack. Does your partner know you've been in the kitchen pinching her stuff? Well, this is my clean film. He says so confidently. No. She was reading the book and I just sloped on past her with a pint in one hand and a roll of cling film in the other. So, nah. Anyway, I'm just going to do my best just to use a bit more tape and just tidy this up out of the way over here. Just so I don't have to worry about manipulating it every single time, you know, I go to spray with the airbrush. Like that. There we go. And now I just want a little bit more just tucked down behind the hip there. Looks alright to me, right? Right? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to work on a section at a time. I'm just going to put a bit more around the bottom of that just to make sure. Hopefully it's now holding it in place. Now I can use my hand as well to shield it. There's a little opening there. Okay. I'll take a bit more time. Maybe I shouldn't have cut that other piece of cling film in half. Like that. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work on one limb at a time. And I'm just going to do not squares, but just sort of irregular geometric shapes. And then I'm going to overlap them with the next colour. And I'm going to start with turquoise just because I'm mixing it up here. The other colour I've got is this blue here, electric blue. You can see the turquoise is beautiful, rich colour. I love that. That's really, really nice. It is getting a little bit syrupy in that little bowl there. The colour that I have here is... locked up. Here we go. This is my colour reference. So you can see you've got the turquoise, got the blue. And you can see how irregular those shapes are, right? You can see there's a little bit of silver over here. You can see there's a little bit of grey on it as well. So that, yeah, it's just a mishmash of shapes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the top here. I'm just going to start on this very easy open area. And all I'm going to do is just get a little bit of tape and just mask off, you know, a few lines. And then just try my best to spray within that area, basically. Like that. And if I can, I'll try to reuse the tape as much as possible, because I should imagine that a little project like this will get a little bit exhaustive on the old tape, right? He says as he's pulling off meters and meters of it. But if there's loads of tape, it means I can use it in lots of ways. Now these leg bits here are going to have, you know, they're the smallest parts when you consider it compared to the head. They're the smallest parts of the grey area. So it's actually going to be quite difficult. I think I might be starting on some of the more difficult parts of this model. But maybe the irregular shape of the head might be more difficult. I don't know yet. I thought... I cut an edge, it makes it more straighter rather than the torn off bit that kind of makes it a bit more jaggedy. Does it make sense? What I've done here is I've made a bit of a triangle, but I can come in and put it like this, and that just creates this weird sort of almost W sort of shape. And I'm going to try my very best now just to spray into that area there. Let's give it a go, right? Put my tape over there. Swig of the alcohol because I'm going in now. Now, there's a part of me that wants to do the turquoise colour all over the mech first, but actually, I think, because I've kind of taped off this one side, it's probably better if I go turquoise and blue. And I'm looking at this model here, the colour references. It does look like the blue has gone over the turquoise. So I think I'm doing it in the right order if I want to be true to that source material. I don't think it really matters that much, but I've picked up this thing in my head, so that's what I'm going to do. I can see Christoulis is saying, you can do it, hit the button and look away. It'll be fine. Yeah. Just going to give it a go. But first of all, I need to make sure that my mixture of turquoise is right, because I'm going to go through it a bit here, I think. That's looking a little bit thicker than it was a minute ago. That's okay. I want to put a bit more turquoise paint in there. This is just literally turquoise from Vallejo game colour. There was literally just a couple of drops of that with a couple of drops of thinner. A few more drops than you might think, but not loads and loads of it. I put in 1 drop of flow improver in there as well, just because I thought it sounds like a good thing to do. And then just mixy, mixy, mix. Just making sure that I can see all the comments going in. Jeff, actual model question. What colour for window frames on a grey stone building? Windows painted black. Good question. He doesn't seem to have answered it for you just yet. Turquoise and blue camo. Where the hell is he hoping to hide? Good question. This is just the colour for that particular regiment. It's more of a stylistic thing. I think in Mech Warrior or Battletech, I think that the people who pilot these things are supposed to be very flamboyant and eccentric. I think is probably the right term to use. So they like big, bold, gregarious colours. I'm using the word gregarious. I've never used it before. I hope that's the right thing to say. But they don't care about hiding so much. Also, when you're something that's 13 meters tall, are you really hiding, or are you just kind of beside a building? Yeah, who knows? Cool. Just gonna let that pour in for a minute. One of the things that I've learned is that paint takes a long time to pour. It actually won't all flow in straight away, so I just gotta be patient. What I could do actually. Oh, genius idea. Take the airline off, sit it in the purge tank. Now I can sweep. Oh my goodness, I'm actually really good. I love being me. Now I can sweep it all in. Love that. How is your model painting going this evening? Is anybody here painting any models? Is it going well? Is it not going so well? I know that Shiv's had a bit of success with his gold painting. He's been working on getting gold perfected to his mind's eyes. Ideas for ages, and actually has all recently worked out. Are you working on that this evening, Shiv? Is it going well? Or are you taking a break from all that gold work? And anybody else, what are you working on? Off-white staff. Off-white. Off-white. Like what? Like a grey white? Or like an antique white? Like an ivory sort of a colour white? Interesting question. It was gonna happen, so staff. Rum happened. Quick test spray. Oh my goodness. That flows so well. I did a win. Okay, here we go. Dazzle camo. Yeah, that's exactly what. Yeah, the dazzle camo. I put it on the listing for tonight's show. It's kind of like a digital camo. It's kind of like a dazzle camo. Is he trying to dazzle? Is he trying to digital? I don't know. Okay, nice and gentle now. That went on rather well. I'm going to hit that with some air, and I'm going to give it 2 or 3 coats because I want it to be done in one, you know. looking alright to me. This is going to be fun. Steve Jenkins says, not modelling now, but just got a welder for Christmas, so any metal model making ideas for a beginner would be awesome. Welcome to the show, Steve, and congratulations on being a new proud owner of a welding machine. I had a go at welding once. I'm rubbish at it. Love to see anything that you're actually making. Have you got any kind of like sort of end goals in mind with your welding projects, or is it just like a bit of a hobby, just gonna have a go at it, see what happens, maybe a career comes out of it later on, or are you actually like, I'm going into with a specific mindset, like I want to do something with it? Is that covered in one? I think that pretty much is, isn't it? I'm gonna have tweezers. I think they're going to become quite important. Yeah, baby. Look at those edges. Oh my goodness, it's so cool. Love playing around with masking techniques. It's so much fun. Okay, you can see here that with the paint, when I went in for a second coat, it's gone on really, really thick in one area, despite me trying to thin it out. So that could be my next area to try and cover that up a little bit. So I'm gonna take all my masking tape bits apart, which is probably going to be trickier than putting them on in the first place. Oh no, that was pretty easy. Think about where I want it to go. Trickier than I thought on this particular part. Tweezers are becoming very, very handy just to kind of manipulate that tape around. I'm going to go in for a bit of a triangle, literally covering up most of that black area there. Okay, do this. Try and cover that area over there with my finger for overspray. Because I've mixed this paint myself, I'm making double sure that it's not drying in the needle tip or anything. Because it probably could dry in a different way, could dry faster, and the last thing I want to do is to spatter when I'm going in this close to areas that I don't want to get the paint on. Do a little test on my fingertip there. Seems to be working out quite well. Tweezers are great in a pinch. That's very funny. It's the one engineering skill I've never had the chance to learn, so there is no plan. Just playing around at the moment. Tin foil. I don't think you're going to make tin foil. Unless you do. Good for you. Or are you suggesting that I use tin foil on my miniature for masking? That could be quite useful. I was thinking about tin foil, but I thought it might be a bit harsh on the miniature itself. That's worked quite well to hide that little bit there, hasn't it? Love that. I'm not going to go crazy with this. There's the temptation, isn't there, to want to go like all over the place with it. But actually, I still want there to be a fair amount of grey showing through. So like, I've got one sort of good patch on this side here. I've got a bit of a patch there. I'm going to be putting blue on it as well, remember. So I think I might go for the next bit over here. So, okay. Now this is the patience bit that I was talking about earlier on. There is in my head the desire to want to get this whole leg done, blue and turquoise, before the end of the show. But I've only got half an hour left. I know, so sad. But I need to take my time with this. That's a good lesson to learn. Of course, what would a show be without a cat hair stuck to something? At least it's stuck to something that's sticky. There are lots of little panels that stand out from the rest of the surface, if you like. And it's important that I get the tape to stick down as much as I possibly can without creating any little sort of tunnels for the paint to travel under. If I'm coming in at an angle, it will still not travel into that tunnel, but as I'm moving it around to make sure that I'm getting good coverage, there's every chance that I'll get underneath that, and it will stand out. You'll really notice it. Let's do that cool thing I did earlier on, where I make a bit of a W shape. My tip's gone curly. Don't know why I did that accent. Sorry to any northerners out there. Come on. Excellent. Now I'm going to use that odd edge here. There, that should be fun. Make sure it all sticks down. Doesn't matter about the rest of it all sticking up, or like this little corner here not stuck down properly. That doesn't matter at all. What matters is the shape that I've got in there, and that it's all stuck down on that little bit. Go. Again, a quick flow test. Excellent. Oh, when they're a bit thick. Okay, let's hit that with some air, get that to dry. It's quite shiny when it's wet, so I know that it's that shininess that I need to get rid of. Oh, yeah, getting a bit cocky with the trigger there. Okay. I wonder if you can see the shape so well. Let me just see how good the focus is going in there. Where's my focus controls? Excellent, there we go, cool. So, that particular shape kind of got the main body of it over here, but there's like a little flaky line that sticks down. While that felt like a good idea to do a moment ago, it looks a little thin and a bit pointless to have it there, really. I suppose those sorts of shapes would be okay if I was just to do like a larger block colour like this, and then just lay over it with the blue that I'm going to do later on. So I might avoid doing that in the future because it just looks a little bit wasteful. I might as well just do a bit of a triangle there, really. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do another piece down here. I'm going to tape off that part of the metal joint there. There we go. Also got some sculpting brushes, silicone sculpting brushes, and they're just like rubber chisels, and they can be pretty good. This is the smallest one I got for sort of getting in areas where my sausage fingers can't go and pushing the edges of the tape down. It'll be quite handy, I feel. Quite a large area that I'm covering over here. I think it might be a bit too large. So what I'm going to do in a second is I'll come with another piece and just make it a bit smaller. This is fun. I'm having a good time. Are we allowed to say cocky trigger? Yeah. Look, I try to make the show as friendly as possible, so if you want to, you can bring your kids along or whoever, your best friends. I don't mind, whatever. I'm not about to start swearing. I have dropped a couple of swears occasionally. I am a human. I have a sailor's mouth. Not in a box or anything. I'm just, you know. But I'm not woke. I don't really care about it. And the section's going to go wild now. Okie dokie. Looks like a nice area to paint. It's all going rather well. I'm having a great time. Do want the turquoise to stand out quite bright, so I am making sure that it's going on quite thick, because the rest of the colour scheme's quite dark, really, and I want the colours to stand out quite a bit. That was some air. Looking good, isn't it? I like it. I wish I did do a better job on that. I might... Oh, there's part of me that wants to repair that a little bit, but I'm just going to leave it. It'll be alright. Do a bit at the top up here as well, I think. I don't know who the original artist was for the inspiration that I'm taking for this, and if I did know it, of course I would cite it. If anyone recognises it, then do please let me know. I'm all for giving recognition to the original artist. Oh, it's gone down in the wrong place. That's not where I wanted it to go. That's better. Been ignoring the live chat for a little while. Let's have a little look, see what's going on. May have that leg finished by 2026. Yeah, see, polar opposites is either go in like and try to get it done really, really fast, or take forever. And yeah, this is just this top part of the leg. This is, I think, quite a tricky part because I'm trying to work around the torso and things. Like working down here on these smaller sections will probably take me half the time to get that done. I'm only going to do a couple of bits on the inside of this hip section here, and I'm going to carry on working past the end of tonight's show. So if you want to come and join me on the Easy 8 after party, then you can. That's going to be on Discord. Links to that downstairs in the description. Go and check it out. Links to all of my other platforms as well. Excellent. Francois joined us. Hi, Francois. I don't know if you've been in the live chat a little bit longer, but nice to see your name there anyway. How you doing, pal? You okay? To me, they look more like cocktail weenies than sausages. Are we talking about my fingers? Oh. You're watching something else on the side there. Cooking shows. Starting to dry a little bit inside the paint chamber there. That's okay though. A bit of air. Dries fast on the model, that's good. Don't know what's going on with my music this evening. All my music cues are all out. Different tunes coming in. I thought I'd solved the problem. Maybe this evening I should go and sort it out proper. Really professional here. I'm really sorry. Poor his hands. Shut up. This is looking pretty good, and I'm really happy with it. Nice ear. I should definitely have done the wash afterwards, but maybe when it's all said and done, maybe not washing the colours will look really cool. You just don't know, do you? Seems like a whole lot of trouble. You could do freehand with a brush. I can't do straight edges like that at all, and I want my edges to be really, really straight. Also, I just really enjoy it. So yeah, but you're right, it is a lot of trouble. I'm okay with that. teaching me patience more than anything. I have done straight freehand lines before. They aren't as good as this masking job here is. I've done a masking job, dazzle camouflage before on a 15mm German mouse, just as a conceptual fun project. And I copied it almost as accurate as I possibly could from source material online again, and it looked really, really good. I was really, really happy with it. All those straight edges came in really, really well defined. The project that I did freehand was the checkers on Gazgold. There's actually a short on it on the YouTube channel. Go and check it out if you haven't seen it before. And while I was really happy with my check, they don't look as neat and as crisp as it was to try and make it look as crisp as possible. And it's not just teaching me patience, it's teaching me control of the airbrush, which I really need to improve on. Mike Turner's joined us. Hi there, how you doing? Nice to see you again. What are you working on this evening, Mike? You working on any projects? Last time we spoke, you were working on McFarlane's Ogrin, doing some flesh tones. We were talking about flesh tones just earlier on. I say we, I was talking. The other guys were listening. The Scottish. I don't get the porpoise hands, but it sure sounds funny. Sausage fingers, porpoise hands, just a bigger sausage, isn't it? Porpoise. Type of sausage. Sweet, crisp lines, some nice straight edges in there. Very happy with it. Do I do another one in here? Just let it go. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have a look at my source material and just see what sort of gaps there are between all the colours. There's quite a lot of colours on this one. So I'm thinking that maybe I should do some more colour in there. A little bit less on the top, actually. Interesting. And that grey show through quite a bit. There's a lot more angles and things on this one. This is a very different chassis than mine. This is a catapult. Mine is a Raven. There are several weight classes different. This is a much heavier mech. If Kez was online, she'd be able to tell us exactly what weight class it. I know it's a heavy weight class, but what tonnage it is. This is a 35, 40 ton mech. I think the catapult is 65, 70 tons in a, make-believe world, of course. Good. There is a little gap just here. If I spray the airbrush into that area, it's just going to fill it like a little tunnel like I was talking about earlier on. I'm going to try and cover that over. That tape in there like that. Can I push it into that? Oh, it's actually on the edge of a plate. Okay, cool. Be done with it. Ace. I'll be careful with the tweezers not to scratch the surface at all. So this is where I think this little silicone tool comes in quite handy. So I can go in and push quite hard. You can see it bending around at the end there. Probably much safer to use. I find myself in some cases pushing quite hard with the tweezers, and if I one little slip or I push too hard, kind of all done then, isn't it really? A big scratch mark in it. Okay. Might be the last little bit for this particular area. I think I'm losing myself a little bit in the different types of sausages that you can make out of a porpoise. I don't know where we're at in this conversation anymore. But someone's talking about the rat, the big German concept tank. Yes, it would have torn itself apart. I mean, the mouse would have torn itself apart. It wouldn't have been able to travel much more than 15 kilometers per hour, and would have just been a big bombing target, and the rat would have been 10 times worse. But innovative, not necessarily in a good way. Terrifying to see. I mean, imagine being a ground trooper and walking through a town or wherever, and then seeing a mouse or a rat at the other end. Like, you'd quiver. However, if you want my opinion, I think that the actual tanks that were in service were probably more terrifying, like a Panther. Knowing what we know now, I don't know, what it was like actually during World War II. Only the accounts that we have recorded. But a Panther, terrifyingly deadly tank. Yes, there were Allied tanks that absolutely destroyed them. But it's more down to the crews, I suppose. Panther, good tank. Look at all of those pretty pattern colours all over. Absolutely loving that. That is really, really cool. Better than I thought it could have gone. Really, really into that. What do you guys think? I will take some up-close photos after the show, put them up on Facebook and on Discord, so if you want to see them, then travel on over there. Again, links to all of our platforms are just down in the description of this video. You can go and check them out. And along with any comments, if you like it, don't like it, I don't mind. You tell me. Can I do anything differently? Would it be better if I did it by hand? I'd love to know your thoughts, opinions. I really like the colours. Oh, so sorry, Kez. I really like the colours. I never would have chosen turquoise and grey and blue. But it works. It really works, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the fact that I've mixed this paint to go through the airbrush. Absolutely brilliant. Really in love with that. It's going to look really good when the blue goes on there. I hope it looks really good when the blue goes on there. Anyway, that is this hip joint done, I think. I'm going to fill in some of the areas with the blue a little bit later on. But now I'm going to move on to this back part over here. I've got the silver bit to be concerned about, so maybe a lot of what I'm doing on this particular part is me like masking out the edges, for example, like this. And that might be exactly where I start. But we are just about 5 minutes away from the end of the show, so if you want to talk about anything else, now's the time to do it. If you want to ask questions or just have a chit chat on the show, do it now. I've asked lots of questions, and if you've answered them, and if you've asked questions and I haven't answered them, then please do remind me off air by the comment section or finding me on Discord or any of those bits and pieces, because I'm busy concentrating. I don't see all of it, and the live chat is getting really chatty these days, and I love that. But I miss out on the chat running the show and stuff. So let me know, because I want to know what it is you're talking about, and if I've missed stuff, like just kind of bring me back in the loop, gang, please. And remember, the algorithm, it's improved if you do things like talk in the live chat, especially if you're commenting post the show. If you want to leave comments afterwards, maybe it's an afterthought or just kind of checking in, or if you're watching the show retrospectively like John does over in the States at Out of This World Models and Minis. Hi John, Happy New Year to you, pal. Yeah, some of you guys hit the comment section as well. Getting quite swish at this. This is a much easier area to work in. I thought it was going to be quite difficult because it's quite small. The angled piece. It's that little bit. Come on. Come on, little bit. I'm going to cut a piece. I want another edge just to kind of create another angled aspect. I don't want them just to be quadrilaterals. Oh yes, quadrilaterals. So to achieve that, just cut up another piece. Just like I did earlier on, and just cut the ends off. Although that end didn't come off very well. Just cut the ends off because otherwise they get the little torn bits where I tear the tape off on the dispenser, and now I can use one of these corners just to affect like that. Not creating that tiny little bit up here wherever it's gone. Yeah, that little bit up there wasn't really so fond of that little bit, but this little notch here, I think that looks really cool. I want to achieve a similar effect here. Ace. Using my finger just to cover areas where there could be a little bit of overspray. Hit that with a bit of air just to dry it up. stabs through the paper with my pointy tweezers in an exact demonstration of what might happen if I push too hard on the plastic. Be careful with them, man. Made another wispy bit, like I said I didn't want to. I find it quite hard to determine what the shape's going to look like, which sounds really bizarre, considering I'm in full control of that. But, do you know what? It looks cool, right? It is breaking it all up. I do like it. It is showing up. The blue will be really quite electric against it. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for the evening. I think we're at the end of the show. But yeah, look, listen to the music. What a weird and comical show it's been today. The music is all over the place. We are at the end of the evening, so I'm going to come away from here. I don't know what's going on with my music cues today. It really needs addressing. I really need to sort it out. I feel like a bit of a clown today. Stafford says, I've just bought 23 more tanks. Yikes. 23. What are you going to do with 23 more tanks? Please tell me they're 15mm. You have a problem. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me this evening. I'm so sorry about the sound quality, the quality of the music, and just the general shabbery of it, really. Anyway, if you've got anything that you want to say about the model that I'm painting this evening, if you've got any tips, any comments, any advice, if you think I'm doing a good job, if you don't like what I'm doing, then do let me know. You can tell me in the comment section after the show. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram and Discord, where you can come and join me for a chat after the show at the Easy 8 after party if you want to. Beyond that, if you've been working on anything this evening, I'd love to know about it. Come and tell me and the rest of the gang all about it. If you've got a celebration, a little victory you want to celebrate, or if you've got something that's not working out so well and you want a little bit of help, then come along and let us know on any of those platforms. Until next week, I'm so distracted by the fact that the music is all out of sync. It's all a little bit weird. Until next week, stay safe, be kind, keep on painting, get some colour on your grey, and I'll see you soon now. Take care, bye-bye. Really need to sort that music out. I'm gonna go push some buttons. Don't forget to subscribe.